Your dog finds the one puddle you wouldn't even step in. Before you can shorten the leash, its muzzle is already in the murky green water. It takes a drink, looks up, and keeps walking like nothing happened. Now, imagine that same water in a glass. Your stomach turns before it even reaches your lips, and there's a reason for that reaction. From the outside, the conclusion seems obvious. Strong animal, fragile human. But that's not what this scene actually proves. Dogs can get sick from contaminated water too, and the dog that drinks it and walks away unharmed is the outcome you're most likely to remember. So what really changes the odds? The water, the body, or the consequences you never get to see? 10 minutes later, the dog is still pulling on the leash. No collapse, no visible pain, just a muddy muzzle and the same urgent interest in every smell along the sidewalk. And that's usually where the story ends. One filthy drink. Nothing obvious happens. So people conclude that dogs can handle anything. Except the walk is not the full experiment. Contaminated water can make dogs and other animals seriously ill. Giardia and leptospirosis are two well-documented examples, and symptoms may not appear until long after the animal has left the puddle. By then, the leash is hanging by the door, the water has been forgotten. An illness that shows up days later may never be connected to that exact sip. This creates a simple visibility problem. The healthy dog stays in the picture. It walks, eats, plays, and becomes the example people remember. A delayed illness happens at home, at a veterinary clinic, or somewhere outside normal view. That does not mean every animal outside the picture got sick. It means the visible outcome is not the entire sample. Picture one dog walking away under a bright spotlight. Human memory tends to treat everything outside that light as though it never happened. Now imagine several animals drinking from the same pool, but one that returns to the path becomes your evidence. Which outcomes would be easiest to miss? The animal you noticed is not the whole sample. One dog walking away doesn't prove the water was safe. But even after accounting for what may have remained hidden, one real difference remains. The same water does not enter the same body. Now, place a glass of that puddle water beside the dog. The liquid is the same, but the moment both bodies swallow it, the comparison changes. The water enters two very different internal environments, with different timing, barriers, resident microbes, and vulnerabilities. Calling one a strong stomach and the other a weak stomach hides all of that. Comparative digestive physiology studies how digestion differs across species and individuals. In plain English, it asks what happens when the same substance enters bodies that process it differently. Stomach conditions matter because they can affect how many organisms survive the first stage of digestion. But stomach acid does not sterilize anything. Dirty water does not suddenly become safe just because it enters an animal's stomach. And the gut is not an empty tube waiting to be contaminated. It is already occupied. Resident microbes compete for nutrients, space, and access to the surfaces an incoming organism may need.
That can make it harder for an invader to take hold, but it cannot make infection impossible. Now change the animal. A healthy adult dog is not the same as a puppy. A puppy is not the same as an older dog. A pet taking medication is not the same as a street dog with a different diet and history of exposure. And none of them represents every wild animal drinking from every type of water source. There is no single animal stomach. There are different bodies encountering different organisms in different amounts under different conditions. That is why one dog may walk away perfectly fine while another becomes sick. Even the same dog may react differently to two puddles that look equally filthy. Familiarity is not immunity. Tolerance is not invulnerability. Different bodies can change the odds, but they cannot eliminate the risk. So if humans aren't simply weaker animals, where did so much of our protection go? Walk into your kitchen, turn the handle, and fill a glass without smelling it, inspecting it, or waiting to see what happens. It may look like there's no survival behavior involved at all, but before that water ever reaches your mouth, other people have already selected the source, reduced contamination, tested it, stored it, transported it, and kept the entire system running. The glass seems simple because the danger was handled out of sight. Humans didn't lose some biological contest with dogs. We simply changed where part of the protection happens. When the water is uncertain, we make it safer before asking the body to deal with it. Some animals may tolerate certain exposures differently. Humans often reduce the exposure itself. Now, look at that clean glass again.
How much of its safety comes from your stomach, and how much was taken care of before the first sip? Tolerating exposure is not the same as being safe. Preventing exposure is not the same as being weak. The question was never which body was stronger. It was where each body placed the risk. One word: safe or familiar.